Oh, this is going already. Okay, well, it's the middle of the night and I have work in the morning, so I should really be asleep right now, but I can't sleep, so instead I'm making a video. I'm not doing a live commentary because, as we've proven over the last couple videos, I'm terrible at those and I can't stay focused on a story. I think the last video was a story that should have taken me like maybe 5 minutes to tell. Instead, it took me nearly 20 because I was too focused on the Fortnite that I was playing. So we're gonna try this instead. Like I can't pause these, and before what I've done in recording, and it's just the software I'm using. Before what I've done is like record something I know I'm gonna say, and then pause, then say the next thing, like articulate my thoughts a bit better. But no one has time for that, so I'm just gonna record this straight through, and at least this time I'm like not playing a game while I'm doing it. Anyways, this story time's a bit of a funny one. If you saw the title, it is a bit ridiculous, yeah. But this is the infamous Moth story. So I'm not going to waste any more time here. I'm just going to hop right into it. So the Moth story. Let's get into this. Let's add a little bit of backstory here. So this one dates back to my high school days. I don't remember exactly when this started happening, but it started happening somewhere along the line. At one point or another, it could have been one of my friends, could have been someone I know. All I know is that it wasn't me. Could have just been my phone. But my phone decided that every year on December the 30th, that was the end of days. Now, you're probably curious as to what that means, and I don't know per se. But you know how you can go into your phone and you can like add certain days as things, like if it's someone's birthday or if it's like if you decide to like make it tell you it's Christmas or whatever, like the day before or something, it's going to give you a notification that that day is a certain thing. It did that. So every year on December 29th, my phone would give me a notification that December the 30th was the end of days. And I never had, to this day, I still don't know, like one just passed like a month ago. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. I don't know why it's like that, but it is like that. I don't even have I don't even have the same phone. Now that I'm thinking about this, now that I'm recording this, like I don't even have the same phone. Like I had a Samsung and I have an Apple phone, so I don't really know why it's still in my phone, but it is. And I swear to you guys, as much as it sounds like it, I'm not the one who put that there, and I'm not sure why it's there. Anyways, now that the context is out of the way, every December 30th, my phone would decide to tell me that it is the end of days. I guess even further backstory, because this is kind of two things that connect here. When I moved into my house that I currently live in, I would have been like, man, I wouldn't have been very old. I would have been like, how old? I know the ages, and I don't even want to say it because of what they were. I would have been about like 6, maybe 7 years old. If you need to take a second to hit the stupid ass meme, go for it. Anyways, I was pretty young, right? And I got my own bedroom because the house I lived in before, I'd shared a bedroom with my brother. And when I first moved into my bedroom, I noticed in the roof that there was a moth like painted into my roof. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you just overlook that, but there was. It's like in the side of my room, and it was just there for years. So, yeah, with those two separate pieces of context, let's flash forward a bit to this would have been like New Year's, probably a year ago, like end of 2024. We're talking here. So end of 2024, I am sitting at work on December the 30th, and this whole thing had come about, like the whole end of days, and I gotten the notification, but I've been seeing it for years. So I'm like, heck, funny, okay, cool, whatever. I was just sitting there with two of my coworkers, right, and it was a pretty dead evening, which didn't really make sense for like a December 30th. Like it's the busy season at a movie theater. For those of you who aren't aware, like you got big releases, you got people on Christmas holiday, like people are there. But me and two of my coworkers, we were just kind of sitting around, just kind of talking, and just not doing a whole lot, just kind of talking, telling funny stories, as you do when you're just bored at work, I guess. And so I begin to tell them about this whole end of days thing because I think it's funny. And then this one girl that I was working with, she starts telling this story about how she was in like the staff bathroom, and when she was washing her hands in the sink, like a moth crawled out from one of the holes in the sink, like not the drain, but like, you know, the holes in like the side of the sink. I don't even know why those are there, but a moth crawled out and it scared her. So she told me that story, and that reminded me of the moth in my roof. So as a joke, I start telling the whole story about the moth in my roof, which like that's not a joke, that was actually a thing. But as a joke, I add on at the end like, oh, I'm afraid that it's just being contained and it's building power, and I'm scared of the day that that moth breaks out of my roof. And you know, it's just like a little goof, right? It's just like being funny. And the same girl, like, you know, she gets a kick out of the story, and she's like, oh, well, maybe that's what end of days is. Maybe end of days is the moth breaking out. And you know, we all have a good laugh about this. We all enjoy this quite a bit. We get a good laugh out of it. And then I don't really think much about it, right? And then here comes the crazy part. Now, I don't know what exactly happened here, but that night after I got off work and I went home, and I, you know, just thinking about the stories being told, I looked up at my ceiling at that moth painted into the ceiling, and I shit you not, the paint on my ceiling was cracked, probably from being old, and the moth was no longer there. So the joke became a lot less funny, but also a lot more funny because it was like kind of true at this point. Now, what that probably means is that the paint in my room is just old and the ceiling is breaking and the moth's corpse is like behind my TV and dresser and stuff, and maybe my roof is going to cave in. But it's much funnier to imagine that, you know, the moth just broke free and it is out there. So me and my friends have a bit of an inside joke. So around the time that this happened, it was right after my friend's kid was born. So me and my friends, we kind of developed this whole like anime plot, like dumbass thing that my friend's kid has to like grow up and be trained to fight the moth when it eventually comes back for me, because it's funny to imagine that it broke free and it's coming back for vengeance at some point. But yeah, it's probably dead behind my TV, but it's much funnier to imagine that this like super powerful moth is gonna come back and just like fuck me up. But yeah, that's that's the moth story. I guess it's like, I don't know, it's one of those stories that I'm like, I don't know if this is actually funny and entertaining, and I don't know if strangers on the internet are gonna enjoy hearing about this, or if this is just something that like I tell my friends, and because they're my friends, they're like, oh yeah, that's a funny story. But yeah, I thought you guys might like to hear about it, and that is the Moth Story. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Like I said, it was a bit of a funny one that I thought I'd share with you guys, just like a little, maybe get a little chuckle out of you, and that's kind of the best I'm hoping for. Yeah, so thanks for watching this video. Thank you if you've been around for the last couple. I've been really trying to get this whole YouTube thing back up and going again. I am so bad at this, and I've been so out of it for a while that I don't even remember what the outro was. Like, I got my intro pretty much down. I don't even remember what my outro was. Dude, I don't even know. I'm just gonna like say words until I'm out of here, I guess, until I'm out of words to say. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.